Hey there, welcome to episode 28 of the Dodgeball Marketing Podcast. Hope you're doing well. My name is Chris, and this is
Hey,
Michael.
Chris, I'm Michael.
What's so funny, Michael?
I just love you.
I feel I feel like you're making fun of my intro, and I'm really sensitive about my intros.
No, you're doing great. Let's get to the meat.
Now it's just going to be a crappy episode because I'm so sensitive. No, I'm just kidding. Today we're going to talk about what types of email marketing should I use. And Michael, we were talking before we started recording. Your company does a lot of email marketing. I don't do so much.
Yeah.
But you get approached by people that get presented with buying email lists,
Right.
and which makes them think like, oh, we got to be doing email with all these lists are being sold.
But they also have the experience of receiving a lot of typical company newsletters.
Yeah.
So,
so a lot of people think only in context of the newsletter, especially if you're new to email. Like that's the thing that hits your inbox monthly and says, "Hey, this is the June newsletter." And we want to try to make this episode be about going beyond that and thinking of other ways to use email that are maybe a little more intelligent, a little more thoughtful, beyond that. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is use cold email sequences for prospecting. So this is more of those bot lists or lists that maybe you've scraped with D7 Lead Finder or some of these other tools that you can go out and get email lists. So the thing to think about where those is to be a lot more thoughtful with how you approach this cold person that's never ever heard of you. The thing to not do, and the thing that you could that will actually get you put on spam lists, is if you load those people into your newsletter and they suddenly get this email that has the company logo at the top and said, "Here's what's going on in August."
Yeah, we've kind of got two different worlds with email.
Yeah,
it's good to kind of think of these as two separate universes for email.
Yeah, so the newsletter, you think about that more as people who already know who you are and have opted in and said, "Yes, I want the newsletter." For cold email, it's not bad to buy lists, but you got to be really careful about how you reach out to them. So that means taking a little more time and don't put them on the don't put them on the mass email list. Think about who you're reaching out to, what matters to them, what you do can be valuable to them. Make it short.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the subject line. Maybe put their name in the subject line. Be a little more personal about it. If you're a sales rep, maybe put your picture in the bottom that's in your email signature. Make it feel really personal, like you didn't go out and just scrape an email list and send the same thing out to everyone. Include something personal about their business.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're reaching out, do like 5 to 10 minutes of research on the business and say, "Hey, I noticed last year you released X product. I really think there's an opportunity for us to work together because X, Y, Z."
Right.
Now, that takes a little more time, but it's so much more valuable, and you're going to get a higher response because, again, these people don't know about you, so you really need that context.
Yeah.
So point number one here is only use cold email sequences for prospecting and be really intentional about how you're reaching out to them. Take the extra time. It's really easy to load them up in the email newsletter, but they're gonna throw off as spam, and you're gonna actually put your email account into jeopardy, actually.
Yeah. Don't think of email as one marketing channel. Think of email as having two totally separate universes.
Right.
And so one of them, you've just kind of described cold prospecting sequences. And yes, that's a valid way to reach out to people and connect. But then customers only, you can have a more polished, produced visual message that goes out that maybe is part of a lead nurture strategy or an audience nurture or a customer cross promotion. But the thing that we kind of hear as people are reaching out to us is, "Hey, we want to do email marketing. Show us some examples of your newsletters. We've got this list broker who's after us." And I'm like, wait a second, these two things don't go together. Hold up. It's one word, email. It's two different universes.
Yep. Yeah. So was that number 2 there?
No, that was number 1.
Number 2. So why don't you take number 2 here?
Yep.
Nurture audiences and cross promote with email newsletters.
Yeah. So number 2, nurture audiences, cross promote with email newsletters. So once you do a customer and there's somebody who knows you, they're sending you checks, or even some friends and family and folks who are real close to your universe and down with the mission. They understand what you're doing. Whether it's just making sure that they are happy to receive something from you. If you have a conversation, you maybe say, "Hey, yeah, we'll stay in touch with you." Or if it's an actual paying customer and you have maybe a platform and you're using email to make sure that they know all the features and benefits of the platform. those are appropriate uses of email newsletters. These can be a little bit more visual. And I would say the big thing for email newsletters is just make sure you deliver the goods. Don't think of it like this is some print piece. We still get a lot of conversations around, we want to kind of restart the email newsletter. It was a lot of work, so we had to stop doing it. And I'll say, well, show me one of them. And it's almost like a news digest of everything that's happened in that company over the last quarter. And I start, breaking that down for them, and I say, would you read this? And the answer is, well, no, but the CEO likes it, and it was really hard for us to agree on a format. And it's like, okay, that's all the wrong stuff. It's, do you have something valuable people need and would benefit from it? And are you just giving them that little signal with email to let them connect with it? So removing all of the polish and all of the clutter and the complexity really lowers the threat level for the production requirements, and it's a better email. So making sure that you know how you're going to use email is really important, and then taking away the overthinking. And what this does is it gives you an opportunity to accomplish two really big things. It lets you have a consistent, disciplined tool in place for staying in front of folks, so that you have a way that they're hearing from you on a regular basis. And then number two, cross promotion. You may have a major service, a part of your service set that's how people find you, how they know you, and have another service set that's an equally big opportunity. Well, email's a really good way to cross promote, to say, hey, did you know, we painted the walls in your factory, but did you know that we also do concrete floors? This is a really good use of email. And I don't think of email so much as being a sales tool as much as it is a nurture and reinforcing the brand. And so think about it as a long-term play. And I think of it as keeping your business card in their Rolodex. It's not so much something where you're expecting a lot of really high activity with every newsletter. You're making sure that they know that you're out there and that you're sort of present and available. Yeah, let's do the next one. So Chris, talk about this. What are some good ways to use email when we're starting to think about things like e-commerce or promoting products and services?
Yeah, so think about, and this again goes back to that relevance issue. Think about how your message is going to appear based on what type of customer it is. So this comes down to segmentation. And every email software allows you to segment, add tags, depending on what kind of customer it is. So an example might be, you might have a commercial division and a residential division if you're a company. If you're a company that sells to businesses, you might have different industries. You might have education over here, healthcare over here, manufacturing, and so on. If you're an e-commerce store, back to your point, you might have menswear and women's wear, right? So think about what it looks like for the customer to receive a message with you and what their past behavior is, and segment accordingly. So and this all goes back to this relevance question. Is it relevant? It's not relevant to send your healthcare focused. If you're selling a product or service that has healthcare application, well, only send that to your healthcare clients. Don't send that to your education clients. They don't want to hear from you. Right. An e-commerce example might be, let's say you're having a sale for protein powder. If you're an e-commerce store that sells protein powder, and the sale is get 5 months supply of protein powder for 25% off. You might want to only send that to people that have previously bought the protein powder. Why? Because it's a 5 month supply. Yeah. And so if you're just signed up for the newsletter yesterday, or you bought the energy bar or something from the store, you don't really that you're not going to buy 5 months. There's not a lot of reason to believe that you're going to buy 5 months. So same thing with male, female. Like if you've got somebody that's bought 10 to 12 female apparel items in the last 6 months, maybe don't send them the
new men's vests.
Exactly. It's less relevant to them. They're more likely to hit spam. They're more likely to disengage and unsubscribe. So really think about who your customer is and how each message you send is going to come across to them, and making sure that there's a relevancy match each time you send the message. And you're going to get higher engagement. You're going to get higher click-throughs. You're going to get lower spam clicks, people reporting in spam, and lower unsubscribes. Yeah.
Good. Next up, use email automation to close sales and orders. If you're doing any sort of cart on your website, there are a lot of great tools out there for recapturing folks by email. if you lost the cart. So if you have an email address step where you're capturing an email address, you can actually automate the process to go and recapture that cart. This is a feature that's been around e-commerce for 10 years at least, but it's really powerful. And of course, Amazon is sort of so dominant that it's hard to sometimes even think about e-commerce without overcomplicating the entire prospect of doing any sort of e-commerce. But this is a tactic that's sort of doable. So depending on what your checkout process is and what you're using, you can tag essentially that email address in your system with the products that they carted or were even looking at, and then go back to them after they have either abandoned cart or have just left the website.
And the great thing about that, just to interject, is that this used to be really hard to do when all the e-commerce platforms were young, or you had to kind of DIY your own shopping cart.
Right.
But all the major players like Shopify and WooCommerce actually have that functionality built right in. So all you got to do is link up your email email marketing software to it, and just tell it, if we capture an email, or if we capture an email during the cart process and they haven't checked out within a day, boom, send it out.
Yeah.
And it's actually really easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So thinking about your sales and your offers and your merchandising, you can use your offers as a tactic with this cart recapture. And so as you're thinking about your sales funnel and what happens before the purchase, there are actually some sort of ways that you can save a sale. So, all right, Chris, let's move on to the next one. This is
probably should have been number one, but probably
this is kind of a big topic. Yeah.
Because it involves, how do you get emails?
So tell us what the topic is, and then let's kind of get in, and we actually want to kind of hit a few points in here.
Yeah, so I call it just package your expertise and make it available as an opt-in. So this is how do you get emails to begin with. The most common one, like we said, is sign up for the newsletter. But that's becoming less compelling over time. People get a lot of newsletters.
Newsletter is not really a benefits-oriented word.
Exactly. It's like it's a newsletter. Like there's no... Now you could say sign up the newsletter to get weekly tips on XYZ or weekly helpful info on XYZ, and that makes it a little bit better. But I'm talking about like creating assets based on your expertise, the value that you can bring, and making it available for free as an opt-in. And everyone knows what this kind of stuff looks like. It's an ebook. Ebooks were big back in the day. They're a little bit less so now. A video series. Can you package up your expertise into a video series and make that available as an opt-in? A checklist. That's a really simple thing that people like to know exactly what to do and exactly how to accomplish something. Checklists are really great for that, and they're good fodder for opt-ins. Another thing that's gaining prominence is a challenge. So you're seeing these pop up a lot, and this is just maybe a 5-day challenge to, they're really big in the fitness industry, but you can populate this across, upgrade your LinkedIn posting in 5 days or something, and it would be a 5 email sequence on things to do each day to like up your game. You could do a 5 email opt-in for upgrading your LinkedIn profile. We just cover all the things. And you send an email every day. So people really like that time focused challenge thing. That's another thing you can do. You can do an industry report. Michael, I know you have clients that have.
Yeah, this is one that I really like. I think that the ebook as a concept, it falls into that category of like a newsletter. It's like, get the ebook. Well, do I really want an ebook? It's a 5-page PDF. I got it. Why didn't you just make it a blog post? So you really have to kind of bid a little bit higher these days and promise something. And so, we have some clients who do some really great content marketing. And one of the things that I really like that we've seen in recent years is an annual industry report. This is a client that is known as one of the leaders in their space. It's a really complex, sophisticated piece of content with some original research and some stats and some other pieces of information, and it's updated each year. And so the good thing about doing an annual report is, number one, everybody's going to have to kind of get it every year, but they tend to see a rise in website traffic and opt-ins ahead of this report and after they release it. And of course, it creates an event. So it turns content marketing from just being the sort of evergreen best practice to being something where you can kind of build a little bit of your year around it. And they do a really good job with the Horizon report or the annual report. And I think that's a really good tactic.
Yeah, if your business is based around your expertise, certainly that's a great way to do it. The last one we didn't include that I'll include. You see a lot of most e-commerce stores do this. Really simple way to collect email addresses is offer a coupon at checkout or before checkout, a little slider that comes in. That's a great way to incentivize people that only really e-commerce stores can do that because they have a cart. But offer a coupon, offer a one-time discount is a great way to build your email list if you're an e-commerce store.
Awesome. So this podcast is available on YouTube and lots of other places, all the places you can listen to podcasts. Subscribe or follow us anywhere that you engage with podcast content, and like or subscribe. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.